Welcome back to Street Switch Photography for a late afternoon update. Well, not so much of an update, but more of a debunk. Let's do this.
Street Switch Photography.
So yes, I'm back for another one, and I've just been going through YouTube looking at some different videos and stuff like that for something to do on this faithful Tuesday afternoon, and I came across an interview that I found recently online with this gentleman here. I'm not sure how to pronounce his name. Mothin Ali. He's basically a candidate for the Green Party, and he's been interviewed by Nova Media. They've got quite a few followers. They're a far left YouTube channel, and I just thought we'd have a bit of a listen to what it is he's got to say, because I believe this man is dangerous. So let's see what he's got to say, and we'll go from there.
How would you rate the party out of 10 in the last month under Zach Polanski?
Right now, we're just on an absolutely upward trajectory. We're flying. Out of 10, I think we're probably a solid 9. But I think we're going to smash that 10 barrier very soon, and we'll keep that scale going higher and higher.
How do you think the party will do in next May's local elections? Because you're a councillor, you're somebody that knocks on lots of doors canvassing.
I'm feeling very positive. As well as canvassing my local ward, I've been up and down the country over the last month. We've been to Cardiff, we've been to London, we've been to Hastings. You know, people are looking for change, and when they're seeing green canvassers at the doorstep and they're engaging and they're seeing that there's...
So let's remind ourselves who the Green Party are. The Green Party are the ones that want everybody to sit in a cave with a candle trying to stay warm in the depths of winter. These are the ones that believe more than anybody in net zero. These are the ones that support Palestine action. These are the ones that support Just Stop Racism. This guy here is one of the councillors in Leeds. He won the election. I think he's the MP for Leeds. I'm not 100% sure, but yeah, that's what happened. We'll take a look at something else in a few seconds to remind ourselves who he actually is.
There's something different out there than the main two parties. They're really bouncing off that. They're bouncing off that energy. And I think we're going to really break through this year.
What's the response like when you're canvassing from people in Hare Hills or nearby wards? Mm-hmm. As a Green, it's the question I posed to Zach Polanski earlier on. They listen to what you're saying on cost of living, bills, all the things.
A certain demographic listen to what he's saying, and I think it's probably about the right time now to remind ourselves of who this
things
guy
that was
actually
centering
is.
in his speech earlier
Let's
on
just
today.
get the picture back to him.
NHS.
Me in the media.
Let's actually take a look
Fucking
at what's
adverts.
inside one of
Just
these
get rid of this
energy
advert.
drinks. Starts off.
So yeah, this guy, MP in Leeds. Let's remind ourselves of who he is.
We will not be silent. We will raise the voice of Gaza. We will raise the voice of
There's a Palestinian action flag behind him.
Palestine. Allahu Akbar.
Now, was that appropriate? Do you think that was appropriate after winning an election? I don't think so, do you? Now today, on the 7th of October, we've got Palestine action, celebrating the death of 2 Jews out on the streets. Celebrating it. This is who this guy stands for. What do you think to that? Don't you find that sort of distasteful, disgusting? Does it leave a bitter taste in your mouth? Because I know it did, and I certainly know it does for me, personally.
Different to what affects people in real life. I share this story quite often.
Now let's see how many lies he actually says. I mean, when I don't know whether anybody watched last year the Leeds riots, after there were concerns about a child in Leeds on one of the estates. And what actually happened was there were riots because one of these children got taken away from I think it was a Romani gypsy family or something along those lines. And the Muslim community turned around and says, well, we're going to absolutely trash the place until you bring that child back. And the Leeds police ran away. They absolutely trashed the place. This guy come out basically condemning it. Obviously, I don't think he really did, but...
I knocked on one door and the resident at the other end called me the P word.
I do not believe that for one fucking second. I do not believe that for 1 second.
And said he's not going to vote for me because of that. So I stood there and I asked him why and what's the problem.
The fact that you support Palestine action, the fact that you support a warmongering religion that thinks it's okay to be a paedophile and everything else, and shouting Allah Akbar after you've just won at the local elections. I can see a few problems there, mate. Nothing to do with the P word. It's what you stand for.
And his problem wasn't about race, his problem wasn't about religion, it wasn't anything about that. It was a problem about fly tipping. His real anger was coming because there was a patch of green space at the end of his road that was used as a fly tipping site.
That had probably got a burnt out car on it because you didn't say anything when the riots were going on over in Leeds on that housing estate. Would that be right? Maybe. Now again, this is a far left channel. I've debunked this channel before. The Green Party basically stand for everything the British people do not stand for. And I'm going to keep doing debunks on this channel because I think it needs to be seen, and I think it needs to be, people need to be aware of what it is and the propaganda they try and use. Weak-minded people vote Green.
We got that cleaned up. I knocked on his door again, had another conversation. He was angry still, but he was willing to engage a little bit more. After I got voted in, I was walking past the street. He came out of his house. He saw me leafleting. He came out of his house and said, "I voted for you." That's the difference that a Green...
So he voted for you after calling you the P word, but it wasn't racist. Because he didn't call you the P word, did he, mate? He didn't call you that, did he? You're a liar. Because this is the first time you've mentioned it. Now, anybody else would mention it straight the way. But not you. You thought you'd save it specially for this Nova Media interview. It's interesting. The way some people work.
Councillor can make on the doorstep.
Do you think social media is nonsense?
I don't think it's nonsense. I think it...
Again, we'll go back and we'll remind ourselves who this guy actually is.
Friends echo it.
We will not be silent. We will raise the voice of Gaza. We will raise the voice of Palestine. Allahu Akbar!
And again, that's deemed acceptable. That's deemed acceptable behaviour by this gentleman. He's, yeah, he's quite decisive, isn't he? I mean, what else can I say, really? I mean, here's another one.
I'm being neglected by this rotten fucking council. Look at the language you're using. Back off. Don't use that.
This seems a very controlled environment, doesn't it?
Don't use that. Hey, Gibson. It's a win for the people of Gaza who have been... We will not be silent. We will raise the voice of Gaza.
These are the same people celebrating on October the 7th, today, of the death of 2 Jews in Manchester. This is the same people. Make no mistake. Don't try and, you know, skirt around the edges with a brush with it.
Raise the voice of Palestine. Allahu Akbar. I'm being neglected by this rotten fucking council.
So yeah, he shouts Allah Akbar, or Alan Snack Bar as I call it, and the Green Party
creates
and Nova Media
creates hostility where there doesn't need to be.
Creates hostility where there does not need to be. So shouting Allah Akbar after winning the local elections in the middle of the chamber isn't creating hostility where it needs to be, or where it doesn't need to be, like he said. I correct myself there. I apologise. All right then.
Right, that interaction really changed my mind about, or changed my perception of what is out there. You know, there's so much chatter about immigrants, about Muslims, about black and brown people.
No, there isn't. There's hardly any chatter about black and brown people. That's a fucking lie. You lying twat. The problem we have is illegal immigrants. You seem to forget the word illegal quite a lot, don't you? Illegal immigrants are not welcome in this country because they crossed the channel illegally. I've said all this before. They crossed the channel illegally. They set foot on this land illegally. They entered a hotel because, can you remember the Epping Hotel that had a court case? They live in hotels illegally. They work illegally. How many laws do you have to break before you're deported or put in prison? How many? How acceptable have British people been of this piss take that these people coming across, economic migrants, raping our children? Also, that happened in Epping and many more hotels, hence we have a big scandal, and it's called the P grooming gangs, isn't it? There's a big investigation into it in more than 50 towns and cities across the country, and you sit there and wonder why we've got a problem. I don't deem it acceptable, Mr. Allen Snackbar.
And when you have that interaction and say, okay, what's your real issue? Let's get to the bottom of it. And that's the thing I like about Greens as well, is they're willing to listen and have that conversation.
The problem is with the far left, they are not willing to listen. They will only listen when it suits their narrative. They only want free speech when it suits their narrative. They only want to be able to debate when they know the questions they're going to be asked and they have ready answers. You ask them any other question that they're not ready for, they fall to bits like wet paper. And I've said this before, with the Green Party or even just the far left by itself, there is no cohesive discourse. It's impossible to open a dialogue with these people because they live in an echo chamber. They like to hoodwink and lead people up the primrose path, and that is fact.
And that's how we change people, and that's how we build a cohesive society. Is we've got people.
What I would like to ask somebody, if anybody that's watching this channel, if somebody can go and show me anywhere in the world where socialism and secular society has actually worked, that's included Islam, go and show me where that is, and lots of other cultures. They are a warmongering culture, and that is it. Now, I'm not saying every single Muslim on this planet is a nasty person, because they're not. We have things called moderate Muslims, and they're actually beginning to stand up against this type of thing. Extremism. That's the problem. That is the problem. There's all this hijacking going on with the LGBTQ, hijacking the pride flag. There's been other hijacks that have happened. I mean, for instance, the movement Raise the Colours. Everybody seems to want to associate that with a far-right movement. Yet all you're doing is putting a British flag up in a British country on British soil where British people work and live, and they deem that far-right. But they call us Nazis, they call us fascists, they call us all the names under the sun that are totally untrue, unfounded, with absolutely not one shred of fucking evidence whatsoever. And they wonder why we don't fall apart like wet paper, just like they do.
People who are angry, and the reason they're angry is because their living standards are dropping.
You think that's the only reason that British people are angry? You don't think it's anything to do with... when an illegal migrant is sort of put first before a single mother for a council house. You don't think it's that? Or a veteran that's lived on the streets for 10 years, and then a migrant comes over on a bloody boat, gets a free hotel, 4-star, and then gets given a flat. You don't think they're angry about that? It's got nothing to do with, there's been multiple attacks on women and children via these immigrants. It's nothing to do with that whatsoever, is it? Of course it isn't, no. Because that would be far right if we thought that, wouldn't it? Or is it just right?
People are struggling. I represent one of the poorest wards in the country. I get calls all the time from people who can't feed their children, who don't have school uniforms. People who are really, really at the bottom. Now, it's very easy to feed them a narrative and say, okay, there's a problem and it's being caused. What?
This reform curious voter who wants change on privatisation and runaway, wealth and
A reform, curious voter. A far-right voter, did he mean to say?
elite capture of democracy and all those things. But they would say, look, Mothin, in 2023, this country had 900,000 net immigration, which is say not 900,000 people came to the UK, net plus 900,000.
Yeah, right, okay.
People, but we're building 100,000 homes, 150,000 homes. Clearly, immigration is going to have an impact on availability of housing and the cost of housing. I mean, that's
And the cost of infrastructure and the cost of jobs and the cost of, school places and the cost of NHS places and the cost of living in general. Yes, correct.
that is just supply and demand. What would you say to them?
Deport them. Deport all the illegal immigrants. The problem wouldn't be so big. We wouldn't have so many attacks on the streets. We wouldn't be importing these people that become drug dealers and things like that, would we? Because the only reason they're coming to this country is because they are probably criminals. There are people that are coming over to this country genuinely fleeing war. And they are taking the piss out of these people that are genuinely fleeing war, that genuinely cannot go back to their own country because they'll be, I won't say the word, but they won't be alive anymore. And these are the types of people that don't give a shit about anybody but themselves because they've left the rest of the family over where it is they came from. If they were genuinely fleeing war, they'd send the children, the grandmas, the granddads, the wives, they'd send them first to get them out of danger. But no, it's all male, British-aged, British-aged? It's all male-aged fighting men. Fighting-aged men, that's what I meant to say. And you know what, I don't even need to carry on with this interview right here because, I mean, to find out who this guy is, you don't have to really dig very far, do you?
By this rotten, fucking scandal, fucking look at the language you're using, fuck off. And give win for the people of Gaza who have been... We will not be silent. We will raise the voice of Gaza. We will raise the voice of Palestine. Allahu Akbar. Allahu Akbar. Allahu Akbar. Allahu Akbar. Allahu Akbar. Allahu Akbar.
Hello, we are...
So yeah, that is a Green Party member who Nova Media decided to interview and talk shit as usual. This has been Street Switch Photography. If you like this video, please like and subscribe. Go and hit the notification bell and I'll hopefully see you in the next one. Goodbye for now.
Street Switch Photography.